The following may contain language and subject matter which is only appropriate for some audiences. But since we're not very discriminatory here, everybody's welcome to listen. Hey everybody, thank you for joining us once again here on the Low Fact Podcast.
Speak English.
Well, you would think that I could. It's one of my main languages.
You always trip up on those first few words.
Well, maybe it's because my mouth can't keep up with my brain, or vice versa.
Okay. Your brain's too fast for your mouth? I don't believe it.
Or the other way around. I mean, I have been accused of speaking rapidly.
You do speak too fast.
Anyway, David Matt here.
Sup? What's up?
When did you turn into like a hardcore old school dude?
That's what's up. That's my thing.
Yeah, but you're like a Kiwi Kennedy. You're like the Ponzi white collar dude.
I'm trying to be more street.
You're trying to get some cred?
Yeah.
Aren't
I want to be cool.
That's two different things, but isn't it funny how people try to get cred? And there's always the story about the hardcore gangster rapper.
Oh yeah.
Who you find out
the original. You feel like they find out their real name.
You find out that they went to private school and are classically educated, and they talk about their time in the street and in the hood, and you found out they lived in Beverly Hills.
You see that picture from school where they're all looking all polished and scholarly.
Well, I always kind of thought it was funny that Snoop Dogg's,
What's his real name?
I don't know. But his class picture, he's wearing a suit, he's wearing a blazer and a tie, and he looks really respectable. And I'm sitting there going, what's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with that.
No. Do you think he always wanted to be a rapper?
I don't know. I mean, I suppose if we ever run into Snoop one day, we could be like, hey, Snoop.
The chances of running him to LA are actually pretty good.
So anyway, today, I think this is kind of a rehash, but that's okay because we're probably not going to talk about it anyway.
Well, we never end up talking about the topic,
which is cool. I think it might be annoying for people listening.
I don't even know why I bother putting episode numbers.
I saw a mistake in the episode numbers.
Oh,
well, I counted all the episodes, and you went off.
Oh, shoot!
But I guess this is kind of a thing of projection, as the psychologists say. But, the whole idea that everyone thinks that they're like them, thieves thinks that everyone is a thief. Cowards think that everyone's a coward.
Uh-huh.
Does that mean that honest people think that everyone's honest? Because I can say from my perspective, that's untrue.
But you're a little bit more suspicious and paranoid than your average bear.
Yeah, but I'm also annoyingly honest.
Yeah, but you've had people try to pull the wool over your eyes and
I've had a lot of people try that.
But I think if you're an honest person and you've never been burned, then probably you would still believe that in general people are honest.
So it just depends on if you've been burned or not. So if you're a coward and you just happen to run into your social circle, just happens to be a birds of a feather effect, in that right? I mean, because the whole idea of this whole projection thing could be the birds of a feather effect.
Yeah. But yeah, I think you've hit on a good point. I think it is that it's really about your experience. I feel like I haven't been burned that much, and so I tend to think that people are like me.
Well, not judging, but from the perspective of someone who's been around you for a very long time, you've been burned an awful lot.
Oh.
And you just choose not to remember that.
Oh. Well, then that just makes me an idiot.
Or like the character of the angel in Barbarella. You've never seen Barbarella.
I don't remember Barbarella.
That's okay.
So what is the angel character?
Well, the angel character is that good-looking blind dude with the angel wings, and at the end he saves Barbarella
Uh huh.
and the villain.
It's a weird movie, Barbarella, right?
It is
Who's Barbarella?
Jane Fonda.
Okay. Okay, so I think I've seen parts of this movie and I didn't understand what the heck was going on in it.
Well, you probably weren't stoned enough.
Maybe.
But at the end, the angel saves the villain, and Barbarella's like, "Hey, you just saved the person that tried to kill you."
Mm-hmm.
And the response is, an angel has no memory.
And does the angel get killed?
No.
No. Well, I like that idea. Well, shit.
Of course, this is when I watched Barbarella before I realized that she was a.
Oh.
You haven't been, not where it counts.
Uh,
You Magoo your way through life and end up burning other people.
Great.
Well, shit, if those were my only two choices, I would pick Magoo.
I don't know that there's really any way to call somebody Magoo and for that to be positive.
Sure it is. You don't think that's positive?
No.
Why don't you
Mr. Magoo?
Why don't you think that's positive? Because you have an idea.
Mr. Magoo is like a dummy. He always gets taken advantage of.
He never gets taken advantage of. That's the point.
Doesn't he?
No.
But he always gets tricked
Yes.
by Bugs Bunny.
No, you're talking about Elmer Fudd.
Oh, well, who's Mr. Magoo?
He's a character in his own cartoon series.
Oh. Okay, I'm mixing him up with Elmer Fudd.
You seem to sit there and think that I have all these things to do again, to hold against you, and
Yeah, I thought you were calling me Elmer Fudd, so I was very unhappy. Yeah, because he always gets tricked.
I'm hunting for rabbits.
So what? Who is Elmer Fudd? I mean, who is Mr. Magoo?
Mr. Magoo is the establishment. He's the old white guy who doesn't know what the hell's going on, and everything works out for him.
Oh, so he's kind of like Homer Simpson then.
Yes, but he's shorter and I think cuter.
Peter Griffin as well. All those guys, things always work out for those guys.
So yeah, there's a Curious George, what have you. There's a whole tradition of cartoons where we're inculcating our children that you can be a dumbass and everything will work out for you.
That sounds pretty good.
Only if it works out for you, but if you don't fall into the stereotype of the dumbass having everything work out for you, then you're not a very happy person.
But it's probably in the cartoons for a reason.
Maybe.
In the sense that writers observe it and they're like, wow, things usually work out.
Well, yes, but the observation is also tainted by filters.
Filters?
Yes. This whole idea that there can be objectivity among us, I think, is really difficult, and this is a rehash too, because we're very subjectively oriented people. Well, we're a very subjectively oriented species. So, things are colored through the lens of our lives and our experiences and our perspective. Which is why, if you have done everything right, supposedly, if you've done, okay, so if you feel like you've done everything right, and let's say you have, and life still hasn't, worked out for you, it's not because you haven't done everything right, it's because that's just the way life is. And that's really, 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 really tough to accept. Almost as equally tough to accept as if you can be a total dumbass and things work out for you. As that person, you don't want to think that things worked out for you because you're a dumbass or despite the fact that you're a dumbass. You want to sit there and think, I made all this great junk happen to me. Case in point, everyone who's made lots of money seems to sit there and think that they are great at everything, or can be, or should be. Like, no, you're just good at making money.
I'm good at this thing over here, so I should be able to go over here and be successful.
Yeah, I don't believe that there's a such thing as that much transference, and it really happens to fall on the experts. And the funny thing is expertise does not make you good at everything. It makes you really good at this one small thing. So
that just seems like a really good way to lose money.
That's a good way to lose. Look, there are many commentators that sit there and talk about the state of our country and our government really being because we've transferred everything to the quote unquote experts, but you're not an expert at everything. You're an expert at your tiny little niche. And thinking that, okay, because I'm an expert at this tiny little niche, I should be, and I'm good at being good at everything. No.
That's impossible.
Well, there are people that are jacks of all trades. They're not really experts at anything.
Dude, but a lot of those experts end up being on a news network, being a talking head.
Well, they'd be
because they can't, after they've been doing what they're doing, they can't get another gig.
They don't need to.
Yeah.
And, the experts are everywhere. They're in government mostly because that's kind of what has been going on since, I guess, the end of World War II. But, that's the, and we'll leave with this overarching little philosophical statement about the nature of life and government today in the United States. Yeah, the big reason why we got big problems right now is because we've handed over the reins of everything to experts, and if it worked, we wouldn't really care, but it doesn't, or it hasn't been. And there's tons of unhappiness all across the spectrum, from blue collar folks like me to white collar folks like you.
Please.
To people that would be considered on the far right, to the people that would be considered on the far left. There's a whole lot of unhappiness going on. Nobody knows why, and I think, but people don't necessarily know why, but it's because, this whole idea that if you get the right people in the right positions, everything will be great.
I'm still hung up on you calling me white collar and you blue collar.
Well, I'm talking about sensibilities.
Okay. That's fair.
Not necessarily life experiences. Because if you go on the life experiences, you're still actually a little bit more white collar than I am. Mm. I mean, you need to go back a few hundred years for anyone in my family to have been at the top of the heap.
Yeah.
But you're kind of like the white collar or the aristocratic folks that have fallen on hard times is not an odd thing.
I would like to be an aristocratic folk that's fallen on hard times, but not really that hard.
Well, that's kind of what you are.
Shit.
I mean, look. You're not like Robert E. Lee. Robert E. Lee was an aristocratic guy in Virginia. His family, the Lees of Virginia, are just storied, right? His father was a favored lieutenant of George Washington during the Revolutionary War. And his father was kind of a, I don't know, ne'er-do-well if you want, gambler, drunkard, I don't know, but he kind of left his family with no money.
Right.
So they had this great name, but they had no money. That's really the reason why Robert E. Lee went to West Point to get an education, because he didn't have money his mom didn't have the money to pay for, him to go to Harvard or.
And they took his land.
It was his wife's land.
They took it.
They didn't necessarily take it. They buried a bunch of people on it, and the government consistently paid her lease payments that she wouldn't cash.
Wow.
But that's also kind of like what was Guantanamo Bay in Cuba.
Gee, I wonder if at any point someone in her family took the money. They probably did.
Well,
when she died.
After, I don't know. I mean, it's now government land, so, But yes.
And for those of you who don't know, David's talking about Arlington.
Yes, Arlington National Cemetery used to be a plantation.
Crazy.
And it was Robert E. Lee's wife's land. And Robert E. Lee's wife was the granddaughter of George Washington's first wife.
Wow.
So thus endeth the odd history lesson for the day.
And sorry about the background noise. It's my neighbor and his another neighbor. In case you can hear it.
Because we our studio is kind of in a odd place.
And if you can't hear it, then
Disregard his last statement. I always do.
thanks for tuning in.
All right, thanks for tuning in to Low Fat Podcast. You can find us on YouTube. Just search Low Fact. You can also find us on Facebook, facebook.com/Low Fat Podcast. If you want to chat to us, send us some comments, or have us talk about some things, just send an email to lowfatpodcast@gmail.com. You can also follow us on our Twitter and Instagram pages at Low Fat Podcast. And also check out Andy's pages where he mixes our beats, Twitter and Instagram at Fantasy Beat. And you can also find his wicked ass shit on SoundCloud at Artificial Beat.